Hi, good afternoon, traders. This is Krishna Joshi here with 7 Points Capital. I'm going to bring you today's trader takeaways. Just had a thought of changing up the layout a little bit for the trader takeaways, and let me know how you like this change. I want to have a couple of charts with my watch list on the day to give you more insights on what I was thinking right at 9:30, how I plan my morning, and which trades I put on first, which ones were my A plus setup, and which ones were not. So let's begin with the watch list. So quite a few earnings names. Uh, CHS retailer Tiffany, one of the biggest jewelry stores. SJM Food, DKS Sporting Goods, CRM, Burlington. So quite a few mid cap to large cap names here. And the other big news was CVS and Aetna. The deal was closing, and then right off the open, we saw like the merger arbitrage spread kind of narrowed down. In the end, I'll take you through my spreadsheet with the numbers plugged in, uh, and what I mean by the spread going down to 5 cents. And on the day two plays, we had GSM from yesterday. AMRN did a big secondary offering on the ADRs. I think $2 billion. That's substantial. And ACAD and low floats. One of the interesting names was ALQA. That's just 3.38 million float on that. The other ones I had it on my charts, but even right at 9:30, I did not plan on trading them. So let's jump into individual names, guys. SPYs started rallying at 12 o'clock thanks to Jerome Powell's meeting. Let me show you the daily. We are bouncing off. We've taken 263 area as a support, higher low, compared to the 260 bottom end of October, and then we are pushing higher into uh, probably inching towards 280 eventually, or like 275 might stall, pull back to 270, and then 280 eventually. Let's see how SPYs uh, go further in the next few weeks. But as far as intraday is concerned, we gapped up on, of course, US-China deal negotiations. Even oil has been in news. Are the Saudis going to cut production? What's going to happen on that front? And today, 12 o'clock, we saw Jerome Powell coming up with a dovish stance that it's probably close to the neutral area. So my first trade today was I was short Qs in the morning, right at 9:05 in the morning. I ended up shorting Qs at 164.60. I wanted to go short into the open because I felt like there's a lot of resistance here, not a lot of buying. The volume was fairly muted. And when I see a gap up on low volume, not much action for like a better part of 1 hour in the pre-market, I wanna look at a weak open. So that's what we got. We got a nice little sell-off in the morning, but we weren't really selling off constantly. We saw some weakness in Netflix right off the open, Tesla a little bit, but other than that, we were just holding uh, pretty much flat on the day. So Qs had a nice little short off the open. My second trade was ALQA, was the low float that I mentioned, and so I was looking at long setups in this. It constantly kept reminding me of A and Y from last week, where I was looking at long setups, and it was making similar wedges. And then there were quite a few instances where the 360s are holding, then 380s are holding, 390s, and then now the 4 level uh, has some trouble going up, but once we stay above it, it's just an absolute squeeze. And we sort of saw this coming. I was in this trade with Stan, Najib, and Samir, a couple of other guys on the desk, and we had a nice little push. So we ended up covering. I had covers in the 467, 487 area, uh, and a couple of other guys got nice exits in the 5 area. Uh, I ended up buying 510, took some at 522, and the other at break even. And then as we're going sideways, this is where I'm testing my shorts for the first time in the day. So I was long biased all throughout, couple of long setups, trading around the core all throughout, but this is when I'm looking at the shorts. So I ended up shorting 470, 480 on this one. So shorted 480, added more 75 and 70, but I see that 470 is soaking the bids. So it's taking up everything, goes down to 67s and flashes right back up. So I end up cutting my losses on this one pretty quick. So I ended up taking in the early 90s. The stock pops into 505. We're having trouble. So this is when I'm talking to Najib. I'm telling him that I don't like the action here. I don't see a lot of buying. I'm gonna short as close to 5 as I can, but I'm gonna put on half my size versus 517. And as it gets close to 5, I'm gonna short more at 497 versus 517. So this was so after losing trade on the short side, this is what it's going through my head. And we got a nice little push um, into the 4 level and ended up covering the 413s. Probably a quick cover, but the drop was more than I expected. We were dipping into the previous level, which was the 4 area, which was definitely a lot of buying, soaking going on. So I was definitely happy with the covers there, getting those exits over there. So I ended up having a good 4-hour trade um, in that final short. And then once we started grinding up again in the 4 area, we had a nice little final short at 405, putting a stop at 427. Initially it was at 432, moved at 427, and then we got a nice little push. I was talking to these guys that definitely work on these easier trades where those second, third dips are the easier ones where we get a nice little fade off, the easy 50-cent moves instead of covering on the first dip at 20-30 cent dips. So I ended up covering 82, 85, 87 on this, so I wasn't really happy with the covers on the final short. The stocks in the 350 area now. So ANY, I apologize. ALQA, good symbol on the day. One of the best stocks on the day for me. The other one we've been trading pretty actively is CHS. Retail stock. We saw FRAN, which is in the same sector. It announced earnings yesterday. The stock was weak all day, and we saw pretty big volume in the pre-market on CHS. So this was the other symbol. I was trading right off the open. I'm going to zoom into 930, right around here. So we popped into the 530 and comes right back down, hitting in the resistance from the pre-market levels. And so after I'm shorting the 5s, keeping a stop at 530. The stock is still hovering around the 5 area, ended up adding more at 97s and moving a stop at 513 for everything. So we got a nice little fade off, ended up covering in the 85s and 90s on this one right around here. But this was one symbol which was a nice all day fader. And the good part about this was it gave several instances to get short as well. So it kept fading all the way to 450, making higher lows and then holding 450, hitting into 485 area, and then it just started fading off again. And it was an easier short because the offers were stacked up. The offers would just follow down 30,000 on a couple of exchanges right here, and then it would shake out, it would buy the offer, flash up, and then just make new lows. So to make new lows, the stock had trouble hitting the bid because of being SSR, so it would get bought up. Now everyone is stuck long, all those longs are selling, and then it's easier for the stock to go down. So just covering 2 symbols on the day, but that is my watch list. I've traded Tiffany on the long side in the last hour or so. SJM missed a nice short off the open. I could have done much better on that one. So if you guys have traded any of these symbols, want me to go over any of those in my executions or on Twitter, I'd be happy to do that. I'm gonna keep the video small, just a couple of symbols, and this is the rest of my watch list. Let me know how you feel about the new layout and the watch list that you see up here. Thanks again for watching, guys. This is Krishna Joshi with 7 Points Capital. Keep liking, sharing, and subscribing.